All right. So, just having some technical difficulties here. Hopefully, we get it all set up because I wanted to explain this. I was calling it the circle of life to rankings. How to consistently outrank your competitors locally, whether it's your website, whether it's your maps listing, your Google business profile, because there's three separate products. It's three separate avenues, but they all work congruently. They all work together. So I just want to make sure that we have this particular video on here. All right, we'll go over here to live. This says that we are on. Upcoming, it says that it's on. Let's just make sure here. All right, let's take a little peek here. Scheduled, upcoming. Hey, either way, hopefully it's on. If it's not, then it's not. So we will go ahead and kick this off in one little second. Just bear with me here. I know it can be difficult. Let me just double check a little something. All right. Why I made 2 is beyond me. Kind of strange, kind of odd, right? But it looks like it is working, so I'm pretty darn happy about that. We'll just come over here as I let people come in, I guess. I'll pretend like this was part of the plan, even though I know that it was not. So here, we don't want 2 videos with the same exact title. Oh, that would be a menagerie for YouTube. So sometimes you have trouble when you're doing streams. That's why I love doing streams. You know, I can answer questions too after I make the point. Here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and make this. I will go ahead and delete this one, and we will call it. All right. This one says that we're live. So we're going to go ahead and describe this, or we will walk through our video for today. So hello and good day. My name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org and grayhatseo.com. In today's video, what I'd like to do is share with you how to consistently outrank local Google business profile listings doing Google Maps SEO in 2025. Now, first, in order to understand how to outrank, you need to understand that there's 3 products. Google has 3 separate products, or 3 ways to rank, 3 ways to gather a business, plus many more. Now, in order to understand how to rank, we need to understand each of the elements of rank in order for us to start working towards our goal of winning traffic, leads, more phone calls. So first and foremost, what I want to do is I want to paint broad strokes. I was speaking to a client this morning. I think it was a consulting client. They saw a video from last year. I called it the circle of life to ranking. And what I want to do is reiterate that particular video. I have much more knowledge now, many more clients now, much more rankings. I have so much more information. I want to paint broad strokes, but give you the information that you need to succeed. So I do not want to waste any time here. To consistently outrank in local Google business profile and on Google Maps, you need to first understand that these 3 products by Google all work together. There's local, Google Business, and Google Maps. What I want to first break down is I want to break down local SEO. Well, what is that exactly? Well, when you start thinking about local SEO, you think about a website, right? Primarily, we're talking about organic rankings. Now, again, stick with me. This will all make sense. Just like the circle of life, I just didn't draw it in a circle yet, but I will. Well, when we're inside of here, text, we have a website, right? Bring this down. Bear with me here. I always like teaching on the whiteboard. If you've followed me for any period of time, you know this. Local SEO, what breaks this down? Well, local SEO is really a website, right? Now stick with me. I know this is a Google Maps, Google Business Profile, but within the website, what is the number one factor that no one talks about? Again, we're going to paint broad strokes here, but it'll all make sense. Stick with me. Inside the website, the thing that matters the most is age. Why is age so important? Consistency over time is how you build true authority. Being consistent, and consistency is what? Here's who we are, right? What we do, where we do it. All right. These are the 3 elements that matter massively. Someone's dinging me. Let's just make sure that we are up and running. You guys can hear me, right? Hello? All right. I wanted to go back over this in order to make sure that you guys can hear me, correct? Why is that person saying that? Can you hear me okay? I believe that you can, but in case you haven't, let me know about it. All right. So this mantra right here, who we are, what we do, and where we do things, this is everything. Reiterating these three facts in these three places, website, Google Maps, Google Business Profile, is everything. So when we're doing local SEO is what? It's really a website. But the number one piece or the number one element of a website is always age. Now, I want to share with you some examples as we go along here, but no matter where you look, if you're talking about organic rankings, yes, you can get on first page, but generally the brands that are up at the top have been doing the service in that area for the longest period of time, right? Now, you might be able to get on first page, but authority is built over time. It's consistency over time is how you become the actual authority. If I can be a consistent expert over time, I'm in the authority. I'm in authority mode. So we have website. We have the age of the website. All right. What else makes this up? Where else are we going to reiterate who we are, what we do, where we're doing things? Well, we have our citations, right? Then alongside of our citations, directories. And I never want a spelling bee a day in my life, so bear with me. Directories, right? But what else? Where else is being valued right now, or what's the new backlink? Well, if you take a look over here, I want to point something out to you. When you look up these elements, here, watch this. Wikidata, McDonald's. I want to point something out to you. All right. Come on over here. When you scroll down the page, even McDonald's, very well-known brand, they are going to reinforce who they are, what they do, and where they do it over and over and over again, even on assets that you never heard of. But they're being valued and brought into the link graph, though. So who's not valuing them? Just because it's not a DR90 doesn't mean there's not value. It's reiterating the fact of this is the brand, this is the business, here's what they offer, and here's where they offer it, right? I mean, they have listings, YouTube channels, right? Alongside of that, look at, there's other ones. There's X, there's Weibo, WikiKids, Vakdia, WeChat. There's the articles, TV tropes, University of Barcelona. This is a French version. Trecani, the list goes on and on. But what are these? These are really just citations, AKA digital reference points to do what? Reiterate who we are, what we do, and where we offer service. So this comes back to this, all right? Citations, directories, all right? Co-citation. Stick with me here. It's all going to come together. Okay. On top of this, what? Co-citation. We have socials. All right. And when you look at your sort order of your brand, business, or service, what's the sort order show? What is sort order? Well, let's look up a brand together. How about we just come over here to an electrician in Los Angeles? Hard city, hard niche, right? Let's take a look down the list. Well, we have an electrician in Los Angeles. Who's the Dundada? Powell. I don't know who they are. This is just an example to showcase information to you. So it can all make sense, show you how it works together. Once you understand the pieces, then you understand how it works together, then you can start working towards the goal of being a winner. But bear with me here. Electrician Los Angeles, Powell's a winner. If they're in the map pack, they're relevant in Los Angeles in the maps, and they're relevant inside of the SERPs. Well, now we have a true winner on our hands, right? And they just so happen to have 3,500 reviews. Powell's number 4. So page 1, excellent. So if I look up Powell, here, watch this. Powell Electric. What is it? Los Angeles. So Google has a sort order or a SERP, search engine results page. I'm searching for the brand in a location. All right. Better yet, I should look up Powell Electric. Now, I'm just using this as an example. I don't know who it is. Just a small example to iterate a point. All right. Coming down this list. So what's listed here? Well, the reinforcement of who we are, what we do, and where we do it. And look at the order. So there's Powell, there's Yelp, all right? And this could be different, but it doesn't matter if it got the right one or not. All I'm trying to do is convey the information to you of the sort order of relevance. The sort order of relevance is exactly what I'm giving you here. The age is king, citations, directory, co-citation, and socials. If I go and look at the sort order under a brand, what's it going to give me? Well, here's the sort order. Right? There's my socials, there's my directories, there's my citations. If I start going out farther, it'll start pulling in press releases and other iterations of who we are, what we do, and where we do things. You with me? I hope so. Let's keep moving on though. Now again, I'm painting broad strokes here, but it'll all come together very quickly. All right. All right. So this is some off-page factors here. Okay. Stick with me. Bear with me. All right. Socials, website, age is key. And we're going to hone in on website in a moment here. But I just want to point these ones out to you, very cautious. And then we're going to talk about authority links. Now, authority links could be from what? High DR websites, reiterating the point of who we are, what we do, where we do things. Or it could also be a press release like a Yahoo or Business Insider or an AP News, any authoritative asset. All we're really doing is reiterating who we are, what we do, where we do things. The next piece that I want to talk about is your website, but your website is more than just the off page. It's also on page, right? So there's on page SEO, all right? We can even go even deeper, but I don't want to go too deep, but I want to just hold that right there. It's a branch off of the website. This is all going to come together at the end. I promise you. Just bear with me here. I have to explain it all, how I understand it. And hopefully you can help from this. All right. I want you to walk away understanding this a little bit better. Socials and authority links. Now, here's the other piece I want to talk about when we're talking about off page. So we can say off page SEO. Okay. We can call that this. But when we're talking about off page, what are we sending in? Right? Well, we're sending in NAP details, but what else? We're also sending in what is called anchor text. Okay. And what is Google looking at? Well, they're looking at the surrounding text, the page URLs, the other outbound links. They're looking at all of the data that's associated with the hyperlinks of the sites that are pointing to you, right? Category of link, it goes on and on. All right. NAP details, the anchor text. All right. The link graph. So this is the category of link. All right. I'll do a little bit more. Surrounding text. All right. Are you with me? Please stick with me. All right. So we'll go like this. We'll make this a little smaller. I'm not a design expert. I'm just an SEO. All right. All right. So we have socials, we have directories, we have citations, we have the website, and let's hone in on this website. Now, something great about the website is that all of our assets, depending on how many locations we have, most business owners only have one validated entity, aka maps. But we don't just validate with only maps, right? Well, we have our YouTube, we have our X, we have our socials, which is on our list. And where do we point this asset? See, all the reiterations of information, who we are, what we do, and where we're doing it, aka an RDF triple. These pieces of information are also pointing back to our homepage, just like our GBP is, reiterating those facts, who we are, what we do, and where we're doing things. So on page, there's elements within the page that are very important because here's how you can understand this. Does Google use rendered DOM for rankings or source code? Okay. Both of them are very, very similar, but Google is rendering the DOM. When you can read all about this. I just wrote this here so you can read about it for yourself, but you can look at the source, but what they're doing is they're utilizing the rendered DOM. But Chris, how does this tie into Google Maps and Google Business Profile? Like, why are you saying this? Okay, we have a website. On page is important. Google uses the rendered DOM. We have all of these assets reiterating name, address, phone number, who we are, what we do, where we do things. right? We know about links. We know about anchor text. We know about the link graph, right? All of these things are reinforcing each other. I get it, Chris. But on top of that, we have all of these assets that are curated together, pointing to our asset. But generally, these most authoritative assets, directories, citations, social, authoritative links, NAP details, your anchor text, all your authority stuff that's reiterating who we are, these three things, is pointing where? To the homepage, right? Now, you and I know that Google's using the rendered DOM. Well, when you look at the rendered DOM of a website, let's just do this together. We take a look at Powell Electric, all right, in Los Angeles, because this is just our example. I have no idea who this is. Tons of reviews, big winner out there. We take a look at this page. It looks pretty cool. This is the page that is winning in Los Angeles for electrician and electrician/services. 3,400 reviews, dominant force, have the age, right? But when we take a look at the rendered DOM, what does Google see? Well, when you take a look at this right here, they don't see all the pretty or the fancy or the layout. What are they looking at? They're looking at HTML. And inside of that HTML, what is there? Well, there could be frames. There could also be H tags. There could be A tags. And that's the point that I want to lay out. You see, if my maps listing is connected and Google is going to read the render DOM and take away all the pretty, and they're looking at H tags, the URL, the text, the surrounding text, the footer, the header, they're looking at my navigation, and most importantly, they're looking at primary density, A tags that are on the page. So if I'm connecting all of these assets to reiterate these three things, and my GBP is going to reiterate these three things and point to my homepage, well, I want to make sure that when I'm doing my on-page optimization, that I am targeting primary service terms in A tags where I want to make sure that I talk about service in header, footer, body, right? Service terms are going to come in A tags. Service terms and locations in H tags, right? Primary density will target locations, okay? Now remember, you are going to give Google what? A sitemap. You're also going to have an HTML sitemap. And what does Google crawl no matter what? They crawl a few things. Even if you 404 block them, they're going to crawl your 404. They're going to crawl even your block pages in most cases. They're going to crawl your robots. They're going to crawl your sitemaps, right? And your sitemaps are going to have a hierarchy, I would venture to guess. And what are you going to be reiterating inside of your sitemap? Like, what is your site about? It's about your service, your brand, and where you offer your services. Even if you have informational content, it's only there to support the main idea. So what are you going to have? What else goes into your on page? Well, you're going to have primary service pages, right? You're going to have service location pages, right? Okay. You're going to have supporting articles to support services, right? So when you look at your sitemap, the majority of your pages are talking about service location, or we're just creating pages to support those services other than your filler and or brand pages. But of course, you're going to have your brand pages. What's a brand page? Well, great question. Brand pages would include what? FAQ, meet the team. All right. Here. Meet the team. Bear with me. Grab this. Come on over here. All right. Move these down. All right. Brand pages. Meet the team. FAQ, about the brand. AKA could be called about us. All right. Your blog is really what? Your blog is your resource. Okay. resources. All right. So you have a blog, which is what? It's resources to support your service. You have a facts page, a meet the team, and about us. You have a terms of service, a privacy policy, and a contact page. And what does that reinforce? That reinforces the brand. Your homepage is targeting the brand as well. So wait a minute. What are we reinforcing with the website? Who we are, what we do, and where we offer service. So wait a second here. You with me so far? Everything I'm building offsite, pointing in, is to reinforce these three things. Everything on the website, it's only there. It's a page that doesn't reinforce these three things. Why is it on the site? If it's a link, if it's a citation, a directory, a web 2, a social, a podcast, a video, anything, why does it exist if it's not reinforcing these three things? Because remember, if we're doing maps, we probably rank where we have pages for the services we have pages for in the locations that we're targeting. But more importantly, when we're a local business, what do we really care about? Well, we care about another product called Google Business Profile. Well, that's another product. What makes up a Google Business Profile? How about a primary category, right? Primary category encompasses our services and our products and what we are going to link to from our asset to our website, from Google Business over to the website, which is also reinforced online. The primary category is the encompassing, the umbrella term to describe what we are all about. Also, what's inside of our GBP? Well, we have a lot of things. We have our description, and these are in no particular order. We also have our services. We also have our products. All right. In our services are only going to be a direct mirror, services mirror website. But they also mirror our NAP. They also mirror our Web 2. They also mirror what we say on our socials. They also mirror our supporting content. They mirror what's on our sitemap. They mirror what our authoritative links say. You with me? So in order to rank inside a Google Business Profile, we have a lot of different elements. Things like primary category, which is a big all-encompassing. We have our description, which is also our description amongst our citations and directories, right? A directory doesn't have to be a NAP per se. It's just any co-citation online could be considered a directory. Our services mirror our website. We list our services. We list our products, and our products map to pages on site. What I mean by mapping is we will link from the product section to our service and our service location pages. All right. Also listed within our business listing is going to be our address, right? We are going to list our phone number. Okay. And then, well, what do we have? Well, we have updates, right? Updates. We have updates. We have events. Okay. And we have offers. Very similar to a website. What are we offering? What are our updates? And what is our offers? Well, the offers are very simple. The offers are deals, or maybe not even deals, just a small promotion of what we offer and where we offer it. Same with an event. Same with an update. All we're doing is reinforcing within the profile, staying top of mind to Google who we are, what we do, where we do things. But at the end of the day, that's a Google Business Profile. We're optimizing for who we are, what we do, and where we do things, which again is also reinforced within the website. It's also reinforced on the on page and the off page. And then, of course, it's reinforced through citations, co-citations, socials, authority links, on and on the merry-go-round goes. Now, it's super important to a business owner is maps. But maps is just an off branch, but it's still considered another product. It's listed as another product. Maps and Google Business Profile are two separate products, right? But when we start looking at maps, well, what's important? Well, Google spent a lot of dollars. Here, I missed a very big one too that I want to point out, which is images and videos of what? The location, outside / inside, team photos, job photos, reviews. Okay. I can't forget those because they're wildly important, but I didn't want to keep harping on the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. All right. Here, phone, offers, updates, photos, job photos, images, the location information inside and outside. You have meet the team photos, completed job photos. You have your reviews. Within your reviews, you have photos, review photos, right? And all these things are reinforcing who we are, what we do, where we're at. This is all going to come together very, very soon. Okay. I thought this was a circle. It is not. All right. Doesn't matter. It matters, but not at this present time. It doesn't. All right. Google Business. You guys get the point here. Lastly, I want to talk about Google Maps, and then we're going to put all the pieces together. All right. I hope this is making sense to you. I hope this has been helpful so far. Now we're going to talk about Google Maps. You know, when we're looking at Google Maps, we all understand it's a separate product, but all of these three things work together amongst ads, and there's other elements too, but again, we're painting broad strokes together. All right. I'm trying to reinforce the fact of what needs to be done in order to be a dominant force and outrank your competition organically in maps and have your Google business profile be dominant. When we take a look at maps, Google spent tons of dollars surveying the entire flipping world. Let's break that down. Longe and Lad, right? Zip codes, area codes, counties, cities, towns, neighborhoods, right? Countries, it goes on and on. But again, I'm trying to stay hyper local and not get too far in the weeds. All right. Counties, towns, cities, neighborhoods, right? So I'm sure this is starting to make some sense. I hope. But on top of that, Google has also taken pictures of not only have they surveyed longitude and latitude, zip codes, countries, counties, states, cities, towns, neighborhoods. Not only did they make a count or keep track of all the longes and lads of every particular location that there is. Why would they spend all this time and money? But on top of that, they also spend time and dollars going around and picturing and videoing every single location. So again, video of locations. Okay. They also have photos of locations, also known as your business, right? Or just areas, streets, vacant properties, launch, lad, towns, counties, states, neighborhoods, countries, pictures of everything, videos of almost everything, and they're consistently updating. What else is within Google Maps other than your Google business profile? What else is there? There's the photos. There's photos of users, updated information, business updated information. Then there's a whole rating system. Rating, right? Reviews, the reinforcement. But you see, reviews aren't all equal. There's a whole nother ranking system within reviews, but I want to point something out to you. All right. Co-occurring key phrase or words that come up a lot when talking about a subject, such as, let's just come on over here. We come to Powell. See, everything has a ranking system. How old is it? How new is it? And what's the rating, right? Then the number one most important thing is relevance. See how old it is, how long it's been here, what words are included, and the consistency in which those words, the time, and everything together is how relevant something is. And that's just clearly displayed within the review system. So when we take a look down this, we can see relevant, new, high, low. With me? So when we take a look down here, see, not all reviews are the same. See, what does Google value the most? Well, Google values when certain words are repeated by customers. So when we take a look at this, we can look at most relevant. We can come inside of here and we can see that the word job, technician, estimate, work, charge, smoke detector, explanation, these are the terms that are often coming up from customers. If you go and take a look at the winners, I guarantee you there's 3 or 4 terms that are always repeated across the board in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Tampa, doesn't matter. I guarantee you there's at least 3 words that always show up in every single business. Don't believe me? Go look. It's got to be a business that has more than 10 though. Like look at big cities, big locations, places that have 1,000 reviews, but they're going to get a lot of repeats. I guarantee you see the same words across all winners. Not all, usually 2 or 3. Is that a coincidence? No. You see, the reviews that are left from a customer, and I'm adding this to the optimization chart, are the reinforcement that we are who we say we are, we offer what we say we offer, and we do it where we say we offer it. You with me? So Google Maps is areas, launches, and lads, zip codes, area codes, countries, counties, cities, towns, neighborhoods, videos, photos, and ratings. They even have a whole rating system. So how does this all work together? Why do I care, or why does understanding each of the pieces, painting broad strokes, why and how does this work together? What are we trying to accomplish, Chris, by you telling us this? Let's put this all together now. Now that I've laid out, painting very broad strokes, the elements of what matters, in my opinion. Again, I may have missed stuff. I might have went over stuff. But in order to showcase this, and really my goal was to make this a circle, right? Because up here at the top is ranking consistently. It's this. If I want to rank consistently, I need to consistently do these things over time. What are the things? Well, like I mentioned, you're going for local SEO, there's 3 separate products. If I want to be a consistent winner, what true authority or what a ranker is somebody that is consistently an authority, consistently over time. That's how you become a winner. Consistency is us reinforcing who we are, what we do, and where we do things. Starting with the website, because I'm never going to rank for anything I didn't tell Google I was optimized for. Google doesn't just magically give you things. Just like when you look in GSC, the traffic and the key terms that you're getting, that's what Google thinks you're about. Where do they pull these magical terms? They pull them from your assets that you've put out there. If you're going to continuously put out assets or information, let's reinforce those 3 elements. And let's go back through this and then hopefully it all comes together for you. So here we are. First and foremost, we know that you've already established your business. Your business is my brand name, my location, my phone number, my description. Here's my services and the products that I offer and where I offer them. We take a look at our website. We build our website. The number one factor is reinforcing this information over the consistency of time. Now, when we look at the asset, what are we pointing into the website? Well, we're citations, directories, co-citation, socials, authoritative links, press release, cheap press releases, outreach links, link inserts, comment links, you name it. What we need is we're passing relevant anchor text, co-occurring key phrases, the outbound links that are associated to those websites, the other sites that are on that page, the other links that are coming in from that website. All of that information is counted. But just remember these small little pieces here and think about the anchor text coming in, the surrounding text, and what other outbound links are on that site, and how is that site internally linked. If all the internal links are pointing in and they say car, but you're a cat website and your anchor text pointing to your site is cat, you're a car site. To put that in with a drawing, I just want to point this out. You go like this, right? So I have a website. It's about cats, okay? If I'm getting a backlink, yep, the title can say whatever, cats in it. The H1 says cats, cat. The anchor text says cat, right? The link is going to my website, which is about cats. However, all of the internal links, or the majority of the internal link flow, says car. On top of that, the category from other external links pointing to this site are about cars. All right. So the referring domains are in the category of car. All the rest of the site, or the vast majority of the site, is about cars and automobiles and models and makes and colors. But I get a link, a guest post, an outreach link, a link insert, a comment on this site. And yeah, the surrounding text is about cats. Yes, the anchor text is about cats. Maybe even the article, the title, the slug, the H1, it's about cats. But all the other factors are saying car. When I get this link, it may still pass a little bit of power, but Google is going to perceive this as a car link, not a cat link. I hope that makes sense to you. If it does not, I apologize for my explanation. Let's move forward. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, back to ranking. All right. I'll try not to describe anymore. So we have 3 separate products: local, Google Business, Google Maps. The website is all about the age. How long have you been targeting these services in these areas and being optimal? Then there's the reinforcement of service and area. That comes from age, citation, directories, co-citation, all the different link types, anchor text, internal linking of the site, right? What we just described. But let's not forget the anchor text and NAP information that's reinforcing who we are, what we do, and where we're at. The anchor text saying, hey, this is the brand name. Hey, this is the service type. Hey, it's a brand name, or it's an exact match, or it's a partial, or it's a location service anchor, right? What's that reinforcing? Who we are, what we do, where we're doing it. Then on top of that, there's the link graph. So category of link. Am I connected through the link graph to other sites that are ranking for what I want to rank for? Yes or no? Then, of course, there's schema markup. I didn't write it here, but that is to give Google an even deeper understanding or context to your content. I won't get into that, but that's another portion of connecting the dots. Another way to reinforce who we are, what we do, where we're doing it. But let's not stop there. So on the website, there's also going to be on-page elements. Most notably, Google Business Profile, Google Maps, is coming to the page that's connected. How do we know? And they're also going to crawl the A tags and go to top level pages. They generally go 3 levels deep on a crawl. How do we know? You can look at your server logs and see. Okay? If you don't believe me, you can go and look. So if we know that they're taking context from A tag, H tag, and primary density, but most notably visiting the page that's connected to GBP more often than all the others, then what do we want to make sure that we have in the A tags? Header, footer navigation, body navigation, primary density. What do we want to have in these places? Remember, they're looking at rendered DOM. They don't care what it looks like. They care what's in main navigation, A tags, H tags, primary density. So what are we going to say there? Well, here's my brand name. Here's who we are. Here's what we do. And here's where we do things. Service location, service pages. You with me? If we have information, it's there to support. Moving on, we're going to go down our list here of our website. We have our supporting articles. This is reinforcement of information, or we're building depth of concept. I cannot be the expert if I haven't answered all queries of intent. For instance, I'm a plumber. I could be a plumber, and I could be a plumber in Chicago, and I could have a great page with lots of links, lots of external votes. I could have tons of citations and videos and images, all kinds of stuff. But if I don't have depth of concept within my asset internally linked from information up, well, my depth of concept isn't there. So could I truly be the experience expert? Could I be? Right? If my depth of concept isn't there, how can I convey to a robot that I'm the expert? Well, I need to answer all of the intents. There's 8 separate intents. Who, what, when, why, where, how, best of, and a versus. You answer those about each of your services without geo modifiers. Now my depth of concept based on service is extensive. It's so extensive, in fact, that I actually have a page for every query variation that there is. High commercial, all informational, you with me? Transactional and navigational, right? We have them all. Moving down the list. The reason why I pointed out brand pages is because, remember, I need to first and foremost establish who I am, what I do, and where I offer service. You see, you have your homepage.com. All right, so homepage, and that's my brand page, right? And then remember I said, hey, you're going to have a blog or a resource section, right? You're also going to have what? A meet the team. Meet the team. You'll have a blog or a resource section, and about us, a contact us. You'll have your supporting content. But look at the structure. See, meet the team, about us, a contact page, meet the founder, a testimonials page, a video testimonials page, maybe just a video page. All of these elements are not only entities, but they're also serving to establish and to reinforce the brand. See, my brand is synonymous with the services and the services that I service, the areas that I service, my mistake. Are you with me here? So when you're building out your site, you're thinking of it just like that. Brand, here's who we are, right? These pages that come after the brand page are reinforcing the brand. So then we have our home.com/service. All right, here's what we do. And then we're going, what else supports the brand? Well, we have homepage.com, then we have service location, right? So under service, we have homepage.com/service, service info, right? We have our brand establishes who we are. We have supporting pages to the brand, meet the team, facts, about us, videos, video testimonials. But then we have our service pages. This is what we do. So we have our brand and our service pages. Then we have service info page. Well, this is depth of concept based on the service. I have depth of concept. I've answered all 8 intents of each service, but I take it a level deeper. Why? Because I'm a flipping expert. So I have homepage, brand, then I have service location, right? Now I can build evergreen information because I can talk about multiple locations as long as I'm in the same state within these informational pieces without cannibalizing myself. You with me? So, and this is how you build depth of concept, and this is how you reinforce from Google Business to Maps. They mirror each other. But let's not forget about each of the sections, because what we're learning now is we're learning the hierarchy of information, what's important, what's not. And we've talked about on page, off page. We've talked about the website. We've painted broad strokes. But when we talk about Google Business, how that will help us, website, on page, off page, helps our Google Business, is remember, we have our Google Business. What's the first thing in the list? Right? The hierarchy of information. If you take a look at the hierarchy of information here, let me show you something real quick. I know this is McDonald's. I'm just using this for another test. Look at the hierarchy of information here. Okay? Stick with me. This will make sense really quick. So it's a fast food chain. It's listed on the S&P. They're a restaurant. They were built in 1940. Well, watch this. What if I type McDonald's? If hierarchy of information isn't important, then why is the sort order based on the hierarchy of information? Don't believe me? Take a look. So, of course, you're going to have your most relevant results. But wait a minute. The snippet pops out. We're going to start giving away the hierarchy of information here, right? Because we know that they're polling to build out the knowledge panel or the knowledge graph. My mistake. But let's keep going down the list here. What are they talking about here? So it's going to be the hyper relevant. American. Remember, the bold is to Google conveying, hey, look how relevant my results are. The sort order is based upon relevance first, then authority, and the list goes on and on. Now, when you take a look at the hierarchy of information here, here's who they are, brand name, all the different variations of brand name, but then they start talking about, these are called statements, they're a fast food chain, they're a business, they've been trademarked, they're a public company, they're actually an organization. Here's their listing number. But here's what they offer. Here's the sector they're in. Here's the food types that they have. And here's their founding date. When you go down the list here, well, here's the food types. Here's their founding date. Here's their socials reinforcing. Remember, they're going to pull out the bolds. Brand name. This is a location information. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. All I'm getting at is the hierarchy of information is very important. Reiterating who you are, what you do, and where you do it is so important that even the search results will feed it right back to you. Let's keep going here. Next, here's what I want to show you. All right. Let's come back over here to our example. I hope you're enjoying this. Hope this is making sense. I'll answer all questions at the end. So, Google Business Profile. What I wanted to share with you before I got off on a small rant about hierarchy of information is look at the layout of a Google Business Profile. Just take a look. Well, we have our name, brand, who we are, what we do, where we do it. It's almost in order, right? Could be a coincidence, could be. But more importantly, what I want to get at is this is almost a full website. See, we have our brand information, we have our locations, we give directions, we have our testimonials, we have our shares, we have our call buttons, we have our updates, we have our events, we have our offers, we have our services, our products, we have our business description, we have our connection of entities reinforcing all of the information that's above. Then we have reinforcement from around the web, which is from our customers reinforcing the information that's above and on our website. And then we even have other businesses that are optimal or in the link graph like us. You with me? Very similar to our profiles, also based upon searches, past searches, things along these lines. All I'm getting at is the hierarchy you're going to have on your site. And what I'm telling you, who we are, what we do, where we're at, that's the hierarchy inside the GBP. I need these to be congruent. If it's not important, then why does all these things match? Google doesn't make a mistake. There is no coincidence. There's a reason. All right? Let's keep moving forward here. All right? And just put the elements in place, right? Like, let me overthink why. Moving forward. All right? So let's go back over here and I'll answer your questions at the end. Category. So we have primary category. This is the all-encompassing. So we're an electrician / well, we do ceiling fans, we do bathroom, we do pool lighting, we do lights, we do sump pumps, right? And more importantly, we do lighting in Florida. We do it in Ohio. We do it, right? Who we are, what we do, where we're doing it. The description of the business is cascaded across the web in citations, directories. It's through co-citation. It's reinforced on socials and authority links. Our services are going to mirror our website. But remember, the website isn't a website. It's not all this beauty and all this CSS and all this crap. No, it's rendered dumb. It's density of key term, primary key term, and it's a tag, right? So header, footer, body density, a tags within those elements, and then it's looking at the H tags. So if we know that those are the most important elements, what are we going to put in there? Well, we're going to put in the services we do, where we offer them, and who the heck we are, and why we're the best, right? So services are going to mirror the website. So if I'm an electrician, right, like this guy here, well, gee, I wonder if he puts primary services up in the top. He does surge protection, he does panels, he does wiring, he does LED, he does outdoor, he does car chargers. Like, this guy's all over the place, but what I'm getting at is it's in the main header, it's probably in the foot. He could do better, but he's been around for 30 years. Took some shortcuts. The point is, header, footer, body, H tags, primary density, and A tags, H and A. Let's keep going on. So this isn't 4 hours long. So not only will my services mirror, but my service descriptions will be taken and utilized as well, if I even fill out a description. Products are based upon the categories. Well, what's a category, Chris? Well, using our example here again, I don't know who this is. If we are an electrician, let's talk about this. We do installation, we do repair, we do residential, and we do commercial. 4 types of electrical, right? So when we come over to our GBP and we're looking at the products are product category and then the product. Well, the categories are simple. We are an electrician, a residential electrician, a commercial electrician, right? And then we offer electrician contractor. The products are service location pages. You with me? Good. Products map to the pages on the site. Why? Because I'm also going to link back to the GBP, each individual GBP product, right? So here we'll go to law firm Morgan. Now, this is one of the biggest, so that's why like the probability of them seeing this is highly unlikely. But look at each of their products. So they wrote featured because they're fancy. They can do whatever they want. But what I'm getting at is each of these, this right here is the category. This is the product category. This is going to be mapped to an internal page. But why I brought you here is that each of these products, each of these categories has a unique static URL. Why is this important? Because I can also reinforce on my website and link back to this hyper specific service location, service variable type, creating what is called a reciprocal link. Then again, reinforcing who we are, what we do, and where we do it. And the reason why this is important is because Google puts a lot of emphasis on what we say about ourselves and our services and where we offer them on our website. They put emphasis on this. Don't believe me? Then how come all of these snippets and all of these overviews and all of these pullouts, it will always say, hey, gathered up from around the web and summarized from the website? The reason is it's important. Also, here's another fact. What about the sort order? I'm looking up information about a website, or I'm looking up phrases or different sort orders. Yeah, the most authoritative assets will be at the top, but they'll also put the about us in the lineup. For instance, here, come over here. Watch. So how about who is McDonald's? Okay. So they're going to take an overview. They're going to pull it up, right? They'll have this information here, okay, about the source. It's found around the web. It's taken from the website. But look at the sort order. So look at who's first. Oh, my mistake. Who is McDonald's? So what they say about their story or their about us is the most relevant result. Now, in most local business cases, they'll put like X or LinkedIn and other authoritative assets. This is McDonald's, so I'm just showing you the point. What I'm saying is usually it's in the top 5 results, our own websites, what we say about ourselves. Why? Because it's hyper relevant. Google puts emphasis on what we say about ourselves. It's the starting point. Who we are, what we do, where we're doing things. You with me? Let's keep going here. So now also within our asset, we are going to iterate where our business is. We'll have our phone number. We have offers. Our offers, our events, our updates are only reinforcing those 3 things. I've said it thousands of times now. But now that leads me to a main driver for your business, which is maps. But I'm hoping that you're seeing how the website, the words, the A tags, the H tags, the navigation, the schema markup, the off-page elements like citations and links, alongside of that, your Google Business Profile optimization, how they work together and how they reinforce each other. And nothing validates the entity better than a Google Business Profile. It's like ground zero for starting everything else. Think about it. When I want to go get my Foursquare listing, my Yelp listing, my Bing listing, my anything, right? Did you ever try it without a GBP and then try it with a GBP? Isn't it always easier once you already get Google to say, yep, that's who they are. That's their location. That's their business. That's their category. Everything else is a slam dunk. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, right? I know you know what I'm talking about. Now, you do it without that GBP, I bet you could still get it. You can still get it off, but it's going to take more work, more validations, more double verifications. It's trouble. With that being said, let's talk about maps. So now that you see how the website, the off page, the on page, the technical, the links, the category of link, the citations and directories and co-citation, everything's working together to talk about or reinforce these 3 elements right here: who you are, what you do, and where you do things. Now, maps is very, very important, and this is the big one. GBP and website are there so we can pull in leads, traffic, and calls from maps. And just because I have a page, it ranks number 1, it gets no traffic. Just because I have that and you're thinking, oh, why should I have that page? Why should I have a location page? Well, because I've conveyed to Google what services I provide in the areas I provide them. So even though that might not get any organic, that one or two buyers that are looking for your services from those areas, you'll be more relevant for them. So now let's talk about maps. We talked about that Google's spending dollars, image vectoring, the entire world. How much does that cost? I don't even know. They're flying freaking satellites up and doing views of people picking their nose across the street and houses that are like, think about this. They're selling API connections to people to map roofs in any part of the world so they can install solar panels. How much does that cost? Insane, right? Is what I'm getting at. Insane amounts of dollars and energy have been spent mapping the entire flipping world. So with that being said, that information must be important, but it goes deeper than this. Not only is it important, but they've also classified it as an entity. You see, brand names, names of the people that work at your company, the services you provide, the areas you provide them, the cities, the zip codes, the launches and lads, the years that you were started, your nickname, your images, your videos, all of those have IDs. So not only did they initially vector the entire world, but as the time progresses, they're continuously spending dollars to chronologically put in order every single other thing that's a person, place, or a thing. You with me? They're the biggest and the brightest. Why would they be spending dollars, time, resources, plus upkeep to hold and to capture information about who you are, what you do, and where you do it? On more of a micro or macro level, launches and lads, zip codes, dates, area codes, phone numbers, dates, images, videos, right? If this information is important, then reiterating this information within my website, inside of maps, within my anchor text, and the traffic that I'm sending is also important. You see, inside of maps, not only is launch and lad important, but I want to point something out to you. Not only is the zip codes matter, not only does the areas matter, not only does the counties, the cities, the towns, the neighborhoods matter, but also the images and the videos from customers. Not only does that matter, but there's other signals that are built within. You see, I want to show you something really quick here, and then we're going to end this. All right. Let's go to Los Angeles. Right. So we head out here to Los Angeles. All right. Google has spent time and dollars reiterating or advancing, and I'm just going to zoom in on this. Okay. Let's say that this is Los Angeles. And let's just say, for instance, that this is the area that we're in. Now, this area that we're in that we want to actually target is made up of these elements. There's launches and lads. There's lines that go like this for everything. Launches and lads are entities. Zip codes that make up each area are entities. Chinatown, it being a neighborhood or a town, is inside of a county, inside of a state, inside of a country. It has a launch, a lad, and multiple zip codes, right? It also has streets, which are entities, right? Are you with me here? You see, if I want to rank inside of Los Angeles, not only do I need to understand all of that information, but anything in this red, all the zip codes, all the launches and lads, everything has been documented. See, I also need people searching for the services I provide, where I provide them, and for my brand from this area. So getting searches from here and here and here, not here, not here, not here, maybe a few, but not here. I shouldn't have a crazy amount from here. I should be getting them from here and here and here and here. Why? It's a reinforcement. I'm getting traffic and clicks to my business searching for my services from the locations that I service, from these launches and lads, coming from these zip codes, in these area codes, in these counties, in these cities and towns and neighborhoods. When I get reviews, it's from these people. They're leaving ratings talking about what? Well, they're reinforcing the same words that the top performers are getting. Words like technician, co-occurring phrases that mean the same thing. You with me? But they don't just leave the reviews. They don't just take pictures. They talk about location information and they leave the reviews from the areas that I'm servicing. It's time for me to go. All right. All right. So that was an excellent session. I hope this has been helpful for you. I was asked by a client this morning related to a Circle of Life video. Hopefully I've explained this a little bit better of how these things work together. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see if you have any questions. If not, that's okay. It's been a true pleasure. I hope that this has been helpful. Just fine. Hey, Chris, Cooper says, can you share the MS whiteboard? Is it possible, please? It exports to a very strange, if you tell me how underneath this video, I'll do it. All right. But not right now. I got to go. But I'm going to answer these questions because I said I would. Hey, Chris, great video. Can you share? Yes. You tell me underneath this video how to do it. I'll share it with you. A lot of valuable info being shared. Love the breakdown so far. Thank you very much, Adrian. Subdivisions. Subdivisions are really fun. Why not? Another entity, I'm sure. I'm sure it's been mapped and counted. It probably has an entity ID of some sort. Sharing value as always. My pleasure. All right. So everybody's happy. Good. So hopefully this has been helpful. My name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org and Gray Hat SEO. This is the circle of digital marketing, how everything works together to take over in organic SERPs, Google Business Profiles, and Google Maps. Who you are, what you do, and where you do it is what you're reinforcing in every step. If it doesn't make you dollars, or if it doesn't service who you are, what you do, and where you're doing it, we don't do it. The traffic, the reviews, the images you produce, the pages on your website, your sitemap, your HTML sitemap, all the traffic that you send, the videos you upload, everything is reinforcing those three things. I love you guys. Thank you so much for